Hello friends, and welcome to another belated video from my series Quick Thoughts On, in which I always talk about different stories from the rich Star Trek universe. Last week, the next episode of Star Trek Laserdisc, also known as Star Trek Lower Decks, premiered. It was called Terminal Provocations, and these are my honest opinions about it. This episode is, confusing. Call me old-fashioned, but when I'm watching something, I need to understand what is going on and especially why is it going on. This episode is not one of these stories. Things happen because I usually don't know. For example, the teaser. We see the Lower Decks crew together with a new character called Fletcher, and he is also one of the characters who look like taken from Steven's universe. Which is a bad thing. So, what are they doing? They are doing engine sounds with their mouths. Why? Jack Ransom sees them, so what do you think he does? A. He silently watches them, thinks that the kids are weird, and leaves. B. He joins them doing the weird thing because they look like they're having fun. Or C. He asks them what are they doing and why, as their superior officer should. Wrong. He assumes that something is wrong with them, he pulls out his phaser and assaults Boimler. Why does anything of this happen? I don't find anything of that smart or funny, just confusing. This episode also has 3 different plotlines, and guess what? The teaser is not a part of any of them, it just happens and is never mentioned again. Then we see something weird, Fletcher is eating something disgusting, and everybody else is cheering him on. Why? Because the writer of this episode doesn't know the difference between Starfleet officers and drunk frat boys? Well, suddenly we see that the doctor, the big anthropomorphic cat, is eating there too. So why does she not interfere when she sees how her inferior officers are behaving? Oh no, she just eats cheese and gets into her fur. So we get to hear a weird line from Fletcher, that she's just a cat in a coat. I'm not sure why, but it feels kind of racist. This is Star Trek after all. These types of comments should never be heard between Starfleet officers. If you have watched my videos when I covered the original series, this was exactly my problem with the Spock versus McCoy scenes. So even that scene ends and is in no way connected to the main plot. And again, it's not smart or funny, just confusing. And yes, I know that humor is subjective, and I'm of course saying all of these things just from my perspective and my personal taste. So when the actual story of this episode starts, at least that will make sense, right? Well, almost. The first main plotline deals with the Cerritos and a pirate ship fighting over a wreckage of a 100 years old Federation ship. And I'm lost. Why are they fighting over a 100 years old wreckage? Why didn't Starfleet pick it up decades ago? Did they find it only now? Did they find it by coincidence? Or were they searching for it? Why does the Federation want a century-old junk? It's not like they're searching for survivors, they are only searching for things which can be replicated. So why? And why are they quote-unquote fighting? Why don't they just beam it up and leave? The only kind of funny thing is, in this subplot, a small running joke, the security guy wants to fire a torpedo at the enemy, and the captain doesn't allow it. It's weird, but it's at least slightly funny. I don't think I will be returning to this plotline again, so I'll just say it's not bad, just a bit confusing. The second plotline is about Boimler, Mariner, and Fletcher, and it's, guess what? Confusing. They are doing a tech thing with some course. I have no clue what is happening, and to be perfectly honest, I don't care. There is a line which I'm not sure if it's supposed to be a dig at Kurtzman, because Mariner says something like, when people say core, they usually mean one big one and not tons of little ones. It was Kurtzman who has decided that the ships have more than just one core in the Kelvin timeline movies, so they're doing this, but they're complaining that they have too much work and they will miss the choo-choo dance. What is the choo-choo dance? Again, I have no clue, but from how excited they were, I thought that it's a codename for an orgy or something. But no, they just want to go watch the choo-choo dance, whatever it is. I'm confused, but that's not weird for me during watching this episode. So Fletcher offers himself to do it for them, which is a nice thing from him. But when Brad and Beckett come back, he lies on the floor, claiming that somebody stunned him from behind and stole the tech thingy he was working on. They assume for some reason that it's Delta Shift and almost start a fight, but they later find the missing core in Fletcher's bed. Why? If he stole it, why didn't he hide it somewhere? Also, why did he steal it? He said that it was too much work, so he pretended he was a victim of a crime, so nobody would be mad at him. Okay, if he thought it is too much work, why did he volunteer to do it? Then he says them something even more confusing. He thought it's a good idea to connect the core to his brain? Where the hell did this come from? You can now connect things to the brain? And he has a brain cable? Of course. What? How? Why? So he attaches himself to it, but the thing copies his brain or something. I'm sorry, at this point of the story my brain switched off completely. But suddenly the core thing is alive, is eating stuff and speaks with his voice, and is destroying things. Of course? Do I have to repeat that I'm confused while I'm trying to process what is going on and what I'm seeing? So the ship gets damaged, but Brad and Mariner shoot the thing out of the ship to space, where it manages to help with plot 1, and it helps with the fight against the pirates. Well, the Cerritos doesn't really fight, they are just protecting themselves. So in the end, Fletcher was the hero, and he got promoted and transferred to the Titan, and they fired him 6 days later. And I'm absolutely confused, what the hell did I just watch? The third plotline is the best one. It's not really funny, but it's a great sci-fi story, and a really good Star Trek story. Tandy is afraid that she will have to do the spacewalk, because transporters don't exist anymore, I guess. So Rutherford brings her to the holodeck to show her his new simulation, which should help her with any training that she will need. And we are introduced to Veggie, the best thing I have seen in the series so far. It's clearly a parody of Clippy, the Microsoft Office assistant. I absolutely hated that crap in Office, so it brings me a lot of joy to see that somebody made a parody of it. Now, first Veggie behaves like it should, but later it behaves like Clippy, and even freezes. So Rutherford beats it up and calls it a glitch, before it reboots and starts working again. And as a person who has seen way too many stories where the powerful computer runs amok and starts hurting people, I know that this was a bad idea. And I was, of course, correct. When in the other plotlines the ship gets damaged, the holodeck gets damaged too, the safety protocols fail, and Veggie turns into a psycho killer. Qu'est-ce qui c'est? So the rest of the storyline is Veggie trying to murder Tandy and Rutherford in different environments, and it's the best storyline of all of them. Of course, it ends with Rutherford freezing Veggie in a freezing environment, and then breaking something what I suppose to be his neck, killing him. And after his death, the holodeck reboots, and we see another new friendly Veggie. Or do we? because when they leave the holodeck, we see that he was only pretending to be normal again. So does this mean we get a sequel in one of the episodes? Would be nice. I don't know what to say about this episode. One plotline was pretty bad, the second one was okay, and the third one was very good. Let's now say that I would like to give this episode my standard rating. The first plotline would get 3 out of 10, the second one would get 5 out of 10, and the third one would get 7 out of 10. That means my overall rating would be 15 out of 30, or in other words, 5 out of 10. I think that giving this episode an average rating, because 0 is complete garbage, 10 is a masterpiece, and 5 is just average, sounds really fair, especially compared to what we have seen so far. Anyway, have you guys seen this episode? If yes, what did you think about this? Did you love it, hate it, or do you agree with my average rating? Please let me know down in the comment section. Thank you very much for watching, and see you very soon. I myself am going to check the next episode, because it's again Thursday when I'm recording this, and hopefully on Monday I will be able to talk about it. Thanks again for watching, and bye.